Gadadara Shivasa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So wishing everyone a happy Janmashtami. It's Janmashtami there today, isn't it?
Yeah, wishing you the same.
Yes, happy
Thank
Janmashtami.
you. Happy Janmashtami.
Happy Janmashtami.
Wishing everyone all the best for this Janmashtami. And we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 32, Text 33. We are in the middle of the purport, somewhere, well, almost towards the end of the purport. So, in continuing to read from the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. If one wants to understand the absolute truth in perfection, he must take to devotional service. So we may think that I can try to understand God by my own endeavor. I can understand God by my own mind. Maybe I will do this, I can understand the absolute truth. Maybe I will do that, I can understand the absolute truth. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Bhaktyamam Abhijanati, that it's only by devotional service that I can be known. If we at all want to understand absolute truth, we have to engage in devotional service. There is no other way. You know, we cannot rely on our own mind to understand the absolute truth, because after all, our mind is material. Everything that is in our experience is material. So how will we be able to understand the absolute truth? Only when we hear about the absolute truth. Devotional service begins by hearing from the devotees, from Bhagavad Gita, from Bhagavatam, by chanting the holy name. Then we will be able to understand the position of the absolute truth. Of course, no one can understand the absolute truth in all perfection. That is not possible for the infinitesimal living entities. But the highest point of understanding by the living entity is reached by discharge of devotional service, not otherwise. So because we are minute, our size is minute, so our understanding capacity is also minute. God is unlimited. So we cannot understand him in full, but we can understand him to whatever degree that is needed for us to understand. That much we have, that much intelligence, that according to our capacity, how much, whatever we need to understand will be revealed to us when we engage in devotional service. So it's only by devotional service that we can approach the absolute truth. We can understand the absolute truth. By no other means can we understand the absolute truth. It's not possible. By following various scriptural paths, one may come to the impersonal effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The transcendental pleasure derived from merging with or understanding the impersonal Brahman is very extensive, because Brahman is Ananta. Tad Brahman Nishkalam Anantam, Brahmananda is unlimited. But that unlimited pleasure can also be surpassed. So there is pleasure in the Brahman. By realizing that we are the Brahman, we can experience the highest bliss, highest pleasure. That is the platform of Brahman. It's a spiritual platform. So it's a very, very blissful platform. But yet, this pleasure can be surpassed. This is not the ultimate pleasure. Brahman is unlimited. There's unlimited pleasure in the Brahman, by being situated on the Brahman, by realizing we are the Brahman, I am the Jivatma. It's great, great pleasure on that. But it is not the ultimate pleasure. That is the nature of transcendence. The unlimited can be surpassed also, and that higher platform is Krishna. So because in the Brahman, Krishna is not personally present. Brahman is the light which is coming from Krishna. So he's not personally present, whereas Krishna, he is personally the reservoir of all pleasure. So even though there is pleasure in Brahman, there is higher pleasure when we can associate with Krishna personally. When one deals directly with Krishna, the mellow and the humor relished by reciprocation of devotional service is incomparable, even with the pleasure derived from transcendental Brahman. So when we uh, when we will be face to face with Krishna, then what is the relationship? There is reciprocation. There is a exchange, a loving exchange between the Jivatma and Krishna. And this loving exchange gives so much pleasure to both the soul and to Krishna. It gives unlimited pleasure. Prabhupada Saraswati therefore says that Kevalya, the Brahman pleasure, is undoubtedly very great and is appreciated by many philosophers. But to a devotee who has understood how to derive pleasure from exchanging devotional service with the Lord, this unlimited Brahman appears to be hellish. So Prabhupada Saraswati, he is one of the disciples, one of the followers of Lord Chaitanya. And he says that there is a lot of pleasure in the Brahman. Brahman is unlimited. So the pleasure is unlimited there. But yet the pleasure which a devotee feels by being in relationship with Krishna, by having this loving exchange with Krishna, if we compare that pleasure, then the pleasure of Brahman appears to be hellish, although it is the spiritual platform, although there is great unlimited pleasure there. But just to give us an idea that how much more pleasure is there when we can personally serve Krishna, personally be situated in our relationship with Krishna. Therefore, one should try to transcend even the Brahman pleasure in order to approach the position of dealing with Krishna face to face. So even in spiritual life, there is degrees of pleasure. The Brahman, there is a lot of pleasure, but yet there is higher pleasure when we can see Krishna face to face, when we can be with him, we can reciprocate with him, be in Golok Vrindavan, have a loving relationship with him. As the mind is the center of all the activities of the senses, Krishna is called the master of the senses, Rishikesh. The process is to fix the mind on Rishikesh or Krishna, as Maharaj Ambarish did, Savamana Krishna Padara Vindayo. Bhakti is the basic principle of all processes. Without bhakti, neither Gyan Yoga nor Ashtanga Yoga can be successful. And unless one approaches Krishna, the principles of self-realization have no ultimate destination. So the goal of all yoga, the goal of yoga basically is to come to Krishna. It could be Gyan Yoga, it will be Dhyan Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. It is to come to the point of Krishna. Only when we come to Krishna can we find success in our endeavor. Till the time we have not come to the point of Krishna, then till then our journey is not yet finished. Is not yet finished. We could be on the Gyan path or we could be on the Ashtanga path. We have to come to Krishna. And when we come to Krishna, what do? We surrender there. Surrender, sarva dharmam parityagya. And then man manabhava mad bhakto. Krishna says to Arjuna, always think of me in my form as Krishna. Offer your obeisances to me. Fix your mind on me. This is what Ambarish Maharaj did. He fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Save mana Krishna padara vendayo. That is what is needed. Fixing our mind on Krishna. So what does that mean? Means any situation, any circumstance that we go through, we connect to Krishna. Remember Krishna. Don't leave Krishna out of it. Relate everything to Krishna. Serve Krishna. That is fixing the mind on Krishna. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So reading on. Kriyaya kratubhirdane stapa swadhyaya marshane atmendriya yena pi sanyasena chakarmanam yogena vividhangena bhakti yogena chevahi dharmeno bhayachenena ya pravriti nivritaman atma tattva Babodhena vairagyena dhritena cha iyate bhagavan ebihi saguno nirgunaha swadrik. By performing fruitive activities and sacrifices, by distributing charity, by performing austerities, by studying various literatures, by conducting philosophical research, by controlling the mind, by subduing the senses, by accepting the renounced order of life, by performing the prescribed duties of one's social order, by performing the different divisions of yoga practice, by performing devotional service, by exhibiting the process of devotional service, containing the symptoms of both attachment and detachment, by understanding the science of self-realization, and by developing a strong sense of detachment. One who is expert in understanding the different processes of self-realization realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is represented in the material world as well as in transcendence. As it is stated in the previous verse, one has to follow the principles of the scriptures. There are different prescribed duties for persons in the different social and spiritual orders. Here it is stated that performance of fruitive activities and sacrifices and distribution of charity are activities meant for persons who are in the household order of society. So no matter which division of society we are in, we have to follow the scriptures. The scriptures are there for the civilized man. Like, for example, we live in any country, we have to follow the laws of that country. We want to be law-abiding citizens so that we can follow the law properly, and then we can live peacefully. We don't want to be going to the prison of that country. So that's the reason we follow the laws. Similarly, the scriptures, they have the laws for the human society. So scriptures have to be followed by all civilized people. No matter whatever is whether we are grihast or sannyas or brahmachari or vanaprast, we follow the scriptures. So the duty, which is specifically mentioned here, is for the householder, for the grihastas. That is, distribution of charity and performance of sacrifices. So that is what is being said is for the householders. The householder is the one who's making the money, and he supports the other three uh, divisions, the brahmachari, the vanaprast, and sannyas. The brahmacharis have no money. The vanaprast, they are retired. And sannyas, of course, they have given up everything. So who is going to maintain them? That is the duty of the grihast ashram. And in the grihast ashram, one can make money. So he does a lot of activities, creative activities, does a lot of sacrifices and gives in charity. So there are 4 orders of the social system: brahmacharya, grihast, vanaprast, and sannyas. For the grihast or householders, performance of sacrifices, distribution of charity, and action according to prescribed duties are specially recommended. Similarly, austerity, study of Vedic literature, and philosophical research are meant for vanaprasth or retired persons. So after the grihastha ashram, one needs to retire from active family life. So then many people say, oh, but what will I do when I retire? What should I do? The scriptures say that when we retire from active family life, after the material duties are over, then we study the scriptures. Study the scriptures, try to intelligently try to understand what is being said in the scriptures, or what is Krishna trying to say in Bhagavad Gita, or what is Bhagavatam trying to tell me, and perform austerity. So that is um, that is what the vanaprastha are supposed to do, because they're going to prepare to leave the body. So that's the reason the study of the scriptures is mentioned. Study of the Vedic literature from the bona fide spiritual masters meant from the brahmachari or student. Atmendriya Jaya, control of the mind and taming of the senses, is meant for the persons in the renounced order of life. So the brahmachari is the student of spiritual knowledge. And so he dedicates himself in the service of the spiritual master. He fully dedicates himself to the service of the spiritual master. And he's engaged in studying the scriptures. And what about the sannyasi? The sannyasi, control of mind and senses. He's controlled his mind and senses. All these different activities are prescribed for different persons so that they may be elevated to the platform of self-realization, and from there to Krishna consciousness, devotional service. So why are all these duties for each division of society mentioned? Not to feel good that I'm doing it, but the purpose is to come to Krishna consciousness. That is the purpose of every activity. That is the purpose of performing our prescribed duties. If by performing our prescribed duties, we don't come to the point of Krishna consciousness, then it's just merely a waste of time. Because Krishna consciousness is the real position of the soul. It is the original position of every living entity. So the scriptures are so designed so that we can come to this Krishna consciousness. We can see here the scriptures are elevating us to self-realization, but it's not only stopping there. Not only we understand, oh, I am a jivatma, I am a spirit soul. No, from there, the journey begins. From there, we have to become Krishna conscious. We have to engage in devotional service. Merely self-realization, understanding that I'm spirit soul is not enough. That is just one part of the whole matter. The entire perfect knowledge is understanding I am spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and to engage in the loving service of Krishna. The words Bhakti Yogena Chevahi mean that whatever is to be performed, as described in verse 34, whether yoga or sacrifice or fruitive activity or study of Vedic literature or philosophical research or acceptance of the renounced order of life, is to be executed in the yoga. The words Chevahi, according to Sanskrit grammar, indicate that one must perform all these activities mixed with devotional service. Otherwise, such activities will not produce any fruit. So the point of anything, any research, the point of taking sannyas, the point of engaging in any activity, anything, is to come to the point of bhakti. That is where we need to come to. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, become my devotee. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, become my devotee, offer humble obeisance or homage unto me, worship me. So this is the point we need to come to. The words Jaivahi, according to Sanskrit grammar, indicate that one must perform all these activities mixed with devotional service. Otherwise, such activities will not produce any fruit. Any prescribed activity must be performed for the sake of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So why do we do any work? What happens is we do it because we say we get attached to the result. I will do this and I will get this and then I will be happy. That is what we keep ourselves in the center. We keep the result of the activity in the center. But the center has to be changed to Krishna. And it's only then when we can act for the pleasure of Krishna that we can stop this cycle of actions and reactions. Then we don't need to take another birth again. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita 9.27, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, whatever austerities you undergo, and whatever charities you give, the result should be given to the Supreme Lord. So Krishna is saying, you do it for me. You know, we say, I will do for myself. Why should I do it for Krishna? And that is material life. When we do it for ourselves, when we say, I want to enjoy the result of my activity, I want to be there. I want to do this so that I will be happy and I will get this result. But what are we doing in the bargain is we are creating so many bodies for ourselves. We are creating these future bodies, and then we have to take the birth again in those bodies. So to be able to stop that, Krishna is saying, you do it for me. Because when we do anything for Krishna, that has no material result. It becomes a karma. It becomes spiritual. Why? Because it's being done for the pleasure of Krishna. So charity, Krishna is saying, even charity, if you're giving, you give it for me. You know, we may give charity because we may feel, oh, it feels good. I want to feel good if I give charity. But Krishna is saying, no, you do it for me. Of sacrifice. We may want to do some sacrifice to say, to show that, oh, I'm able to do such and such a thing. But Krishna is saying, no, you do it for me. So the word eva is added, indicating that one must execute activities in such a way. Unless one adds devotional service to all activities, he cannot achieve the desired result. But when bhakti yoga is prominent in every activity, then the ultimate goal is sure. So this is the point we need to come to act for the pleasure of Krishna. Because when we act for the pleasure of Krishna, then we are stopping this cycle of birth and death. We are stopping the cycle of action and reaction. One has to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. After many, many births, one approaches the Supreme Person Krishna and surrenders unto him, knowing that he is everything. So Krishna says that Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavanmam Prapadyante. Krishna says one who's actually in knowledge, one who's really in knowledge, what does he do? He surrenders unto me. It may take him many, many births and deaths. It will take him many, many births and deaths, but he will surrender to me because he will understand that there is no one greater than me. So also in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Bhaktaram Yagya Tapasam, for anyone who is undergoing rigid austerity, or for anyone performing different kinds of sacrifices. The beneficiary is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the proprietor of all planets and he is the friend of every living soul. So the peace formula, Srila Prabhupada would say that this is the peace formula, Bhuktaram Yagya Tapasam, Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, text 29. We think we are the best friend. We think I am the best friend of this one or that one. I know what is good for them. I see what I can do for them. We are just imitating Krishna. Actually, Krishna is our best friend and everyone else's best friend. This is the point we have to understand, that Krishna is the enjoyer. Krishna is the controller. Krishna is the owner of all the planets, of all the demigods. Krishna is the leader, and he is the friend of every living entity. If we can just be able to understand it, then we will become peaceful. And once we are peaceful, we can become happy. So this is the real way of becoming peaceful, understanding that Krishna is the proprietor, Krishna is the controller, Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the best friend of every living entity. Why do we get distressed? Our peace of mind goes away. We become unhappy. Is because we are trying to imitate Krishna. We are trying to pretend that we are the controllers. We try to pretend that we are the owners. We try to pretend that we are the enjoyers. We don't even own the body, because if we were really the owner of the body, then we should be able to stop. For example, the disease comes in the body. But if really I was the owner of the body, I should be able to stop the disease from coming into the body. The owner means we should be able to have that rights over it. So if we do a little bit of introspection, we can understand, oh, even the body does not belong to us. Who does it belong to? It belongs to Krishna. And anything and everything we see, who does it belong to? Belongs to Krishna. This is the point we need to understand. And if we can understand it, then we can be perfectly peaceful and perfectly happy. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, the purport is still a bit longer. We'll stop here for today.
Okay.
Yeah, did you have any comments or did you want to add anything?
No, but yeah, this is how nicely and they're repeatedly telling us that who actually God is. He's not the Brahmajyoti, so that we don't get bewildered or confused at any point. So everywhere in all the scriptures, repeatedly they are telling us that what actually God is. He's, Sachitananda Vigraha. So I think this is very, very important, because we might get, when we hear from others, because this is very commonly spread, a common point of view, that people think that yes, God is light, and it's very easy to say yes, God is light, no doubt he is, but that is not the complete form of God. That is not actually the God, who God is. He's more than that. Yes, that's a part of God. Yes. So I mean, again and again, so I think this is really, really important. We have to understand this. And like how bhakti is also stressed here again and again. And how, I think bhakti is something like how beautifully the acharyas have gone deep into, they have felt this. It is something to be felt. Yes, we have to do it. We have to offer a leaf. We have to offer a flower. We have to read. Yes. But how beautifully they express that with their association with devotees association, it could be felt, how they are felt. How, so when we read about them, then we get to know that what actually it is and how beautiful it is.
Jai. Yes, thank you for summing it up so nicely. Yeah, and bhakti is from the heart. You know, it softens the heart. It's out of love and devotion. That is what is bhakti, and that's why we feel so. That's what touches the heart, because the heart is involved. You know, there's the loving exchange is there. So
Yeah.
yes, it's the matter of the heart. Thank you for putting it so nicely.
Because
We'll stop
one
here
more
for
point,
today.
when you read
Yes.
Krishna, when you read Krishna book, how we can feel it is just the same book we read. Maybe we have read once and we are reading again. Then how we can feel so connected to all the leelas we are reading. How, like when we read a leela about Krishna being with his friends and how he's killing, how he's enjoying, we could feel something really, but we don't feel anything when twice or thrice we have read some books, and we don't even want to read twice or thrice any book. We just discard that book. I have read this once, but these books, they are in our shelves for lifelong, and we keep on reading and again, because we every time on Janmashtami we always hear the same. So this is the importance of that, like as you say, that it comes from heart, then how our hearts get softened the moment we read a Krishna book.
Yes. Yes. Krishna attracts our heart. Krishna's pastimes are um, ever fresh, right?
Yeah, and
Ever
they say
fresh.
that it is just that if you know about, my birth and my, like, you if you know, like, what is the reality, who I am, about my birth and my advent, and then it is just, that's enough. That is in itself so much giving. So today is that auspicious day that we can just hear about him, and everything is in its place, and serve him.
Jai.
Yeah.
Yes. Jai. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. So wishing everyone a very happy Krishna
Happy Krishna
Janmashtami.
Janmashtami.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada
Jai,
ki jai, Gaur
Jai,
Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare
Jai.
Krishna.